The magnificent western Rocky Mountains rise skyward and beckon summer vacationers from throughout America to enjoy their beauty and splendor. In fall, the Rocky Mountains offer a sportsman's paradise of big game hunting for whitetail, mule deer, elk, and bear. Hunters reap a bountiful harvest of game during the golden days of autumn. But by late fall, the vacationers and hunters have all left, and the Rocky Mountains stand like gigantic sentinels waiting. Gone are the dazzling colors of autumn. Now the Rockies sit dark and brooding, waiting for the changing of the seasons. Suddenly, on a cold gray morning, snow begins to fall and quickly covers the ground. Soon, nature unleashes her fury, and even the big game animals must move down from the relentless buildup of snow in the high country. The bears are hibernating. Gone are the big game animals. Man has also retreated from this silent white paradise. All except one.
Beautiful, isn't it? Hi, I'm Mike Lipinski, and I'm a trapper. I'm getting ready to set up a marten line out here this afternoon, and I'd like you to come along with me and check my trap line and enjoy some of the beauties that nature has in the woods when a time of year when most sportsmen aren't out in it. You'll get to see the woodsmanship that a trapper needs to find the animals, understanding their habits. You're going to see wildlife that you aren't used to seeing. They're not talking about elk or deer or something. We're talking about things like wolverine, the lynx, marten, stuff like that. I'm a professional trapper during the trapping season. I'm up here after wolverine, lynx, and marten. But in order to make a living at it, you have to trap all species. So my trap line is actually in 3 stages. Where I live down in the low country, in the bottomlands, I trap beaver, and I'll also trap otter, I'll trap mink, I'll trap muskrat, raccoon, all in the low country in the sloughs and rivers where the weather isn't so bad. I leave that water trapping and I'll move up to the foothills, the beginnings of the Rockies, and I'll go after bobcat and coyote and fisher, and I'll keep on coming up. And the third leg of my trap line is up here, this white paradise. Isn't this beautiful? It's just so nice. Up here, we're going to be after lynx. We're going to be after wolverine. We're going to be after marten. We're going to be after fisher. Maybe a few ermine if they come through. We'll pick them up too. But I'll tell you, I got about 12, 14, 15 traps to set out in this ridge out here. Why don't you come along with me? We'll set those marten traps out, and tomorrow morning we'll all get together and we'll check my whole trap line from the bottom to the top. It's going to be a lot of fun. I got to get going. I only got so much time left. Come on. We'll go up here and we'll set some out. Isn't this the most beautiful place you've ever seen? Isn't this neat? Man shouldn't be able to make money enjoying himself this much. This is beautiful. This is the ridge I was telling you about. I'm going to set traps on. Martin, you think animals would like to get down out of this country. Martin like it. The deeper the snow and the higher the better. This is high alpine country. This is a ridge here, and they travel it. I see martin tracks. You can see them loping through the snow here, chasing, they hunt birds and a lot of pine squirrels in here. That's why they call it the pine martin. I'm going to make my first set on this tree here. And this is a set that has just revolutionized martin trapping for me and other guys who have tried it. I didn't invent it. It was invented by other people. My friend Jim Muscat from Big Sky, Montana, showed me how to make this set, and I'll tell you, it is fantastic. Using killer traps. I got these, the equipment for making this. Once you get used to making them, it's quick and easy. I got bait in a bag. Remember the conibear traps, the killer traps? Got this. I got a hatchet. I got some nails, and I've got this, a very important item. I'm going to get her off here, and I'm going to show you how to use it. This bracket here is the key to making the ultimate martin set. It holds the killer, the conibear trap in place. You nail it to a tree through that hole. That's all you do. Now watch. See, it's held in place now. Okay? You get the conibear set, but you don't set the trigger yet. Okay, I'm going to show you up close how this bracket works with holding the conibear. See when you set the conibear, those flanges just capture the jaws of the conibear? Now, I'll set it. Look at that. Sits right in there by itself. Okay, now you're saying, this is a crazy set. Why would you put something along the side of a tree? Marten are tree animals. All their food is up here. Okay, squirrels, birds, they'll go from tree to tree on the snow, but then you won't see them for a long time because they're going from limb to limb, okay? The marten has come along searching, comes to the base of this tree, smells something, okay? He's right down here. He says, hey, I smell something up here. And he goes right up through this conibear and gets caught. Now you're going to say, well, he can go somewhere else all the way around it. Well, not when we get done making this set. Okay, here's the bait now. It's just some beaver meat, some frozen beaver meat. Everything's frozen. It's about 5 degrees out right now. Okay? You put it maybe 6-8 inches up above. You don't have to put a nail in real deep, okay? And there's your bait, okay? Now, when the meat freezes, it doesn't have a great deal of odor. Though a marten could smell it, say, 30 yards away. We want to bring the marten in from 70, 80 yards away, which is a long way in the winter. Okay, I've got some special lure. A very, very powerful lure. Oh. Yeah, the marten might be able to smell this chunk of meat from 20, 30 yards away if he's coming by. But I want to get them in if they come 70, 80 yards away. So I have this special concoction. It's a commercial grade lure. This lure is specially concocted, and it's very heavy in silicat and skunk. It is so bad. Well, here, smell it yourself. You can probably smell it right through your television set. So bad. Marten comes by 80, 90, 100 yards away, and it can smell this stuff. That's how bad it is. Okay, I'm going to put it right above the meat here, right above the bait. Now, the marten smells this lure and says, what is that wild stuff? And it comes within range of smelling the meat. Then it gets hungry. And it runs up through here after this. Okay? Now you're saying, well, what's so good about this? It's all exposed. I'm going to show you how we're going to make an upside-down cubby out of this that is just perfect. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to anchor this conibear trap. Now, I don't have to worry about an animal tugging and fighting. He gets in there, he's going to be dead within a second, 2 seconds at the most. Okay? So all I got to do is wire it up to something lightly. See this branch? Now, if there is a big animal there, he could break this branch easy. I don't have to worry about that. Because this animal is going to be dead. And I'm going to tell you why I'm doing this. It's a very, very, very important. When a marten is dead, all those little critters he's been feeding on all these months, squirrels and birds, he's been killing them by the hundreds. Well, they get a little revenge. If they find a dead marten down on the ground, they'll chew on it. They'll actually eat his flesh, and actually the mice will get in there and bite his fur off, right off the back, and the most valuable part of the fur, and take it in their nest to lay on, and it'll ruin the marten fur. So what happens is we got the cubby, we got this hanging here, the marten comes in, gets caught, immediately he's dead, and he swings right out here, and he'll be swinging out here like this. He's up off the ground, birds, squirrels, and even other marten which might eat on him can't get to him. And he's perfectly safe. And that's why we hang it like this. Hopefully, tomorrow when we check traps, we'll be able to see some of these, I hope. Okay, now I'm going to cover this up. I'm going to build kind of an upside-down cubby. Now, these are just old roofing nails are what I use. And I'm going to crisscross them. You don't have to drive these way in. See, there's a crisscross. They make a little hole here. Nail that a little better there. Okay, what these are going to do is hold the branches. Now watch this. I've broken off some branches, and I'm going to start shoving them inside. This looks like hemlock, some kind. Okay. Now look at this. Nice big one for over the top. Get the ice off as best I can. Now look at that. This thing is covered from snow. We can get 2 feet of snow, and it isn't going to hurt that trap. I'll cut off a couple of these tips here just to kind of make it nicer for the marten to come through. But okay, now the marten doesn't have that many options, does he? A marten is just like a human. If they can get around something, they'll go around it. And this is actually a barricade for him. He's not going to come down through it. He's not going to come around the sides to it. When he comes up to it, he's going to come look around and say, what's the easiest way to that bait? Hey, it's right through that hole. And there's just 2 little wires in the way, 2 little twigs. I'll push right through them, no sweat. He's going to come up through here. Okay, he's going to come up here. And he's going to say, hey, I'm for the mail. And he's going to swing out, just like that. And we're going to have a dead marten there, theoretically. Isn't that just the... I have had so much trouble with marten traps freezing up, and I finally found what I call the ultimate marten set, and this is it. It is so neat, and that bracket is the key to it. We got the covering, and look how fast it was to make. You can make one of these in 3 minutes, and it doesn't take hardly any hardware. Now, I'm going to get a little commercial here, but I don't mean to be, because I think people should know where to get these. I get mine from the Barker Trapline Tool Company. They make them. Okay, I get them direct from the manufacturer. They're real cheap. I don't know, what, $4 or $5 for a whole dozen of them. Okay, that's important. The Barker Trapline Tool Company. That's important to know if we're making this set. The other is lure. There are so many lure manufacturers out there that sell nothing but rabbit urine and a little bit of rotten meat and try and tell you it's great lure. I got so bad I started making my own, and I'm not very good at it. I finally found 2 good lure manufacturers. One is O'Gorman's Lures, and one is Milligan's Lures.
Mike continues on to a new location to make a limb set for marten.
Yeah, this will be a good one. The old timers used to use the steel leg hole trap for marten. Were very successful, and those sets are still good now. What we're going to do is we're going to make a set up out of the snow on this limb with a steel leg hole trap. Now, what you want to do is you want to cut down on the competition. Get rid of all the surrounding limbs like that. Stuff that marten might jump from one limb onto the bait without coming this way. Now, what we have here is the same thing as before, using that conibear trap, except we're not going to use a killer trap, and it's not going to be covered. That's the one drawback. Sometimes they can get snowed in. Okay, first we're going to put the bait on the limb. I got some wire, and this is frozen beaver. But look, it's frozen and the wire goes right through it. This is important because it's easy to fall off the limb, or small animals come and get it, or a marten come and maybe miss the trap and get it before it can get stepped into the trap. See, it's just wired in. It's just sitting there, but if something came along and missed the trap, they couldn't just run off with it. So it's sitting there real nice. Now, next I'm going to put the trap in. Okay, the critical part of using the trap on the limb set is to keep it on the limb, and that's what I'm going to do now. You actually wrap some wire around the base of the trap like this. See? Okay? This wire is going to go around the limb. Very simple. Okay? First I'm going to set the trap, though. Okay, I'll set this trap. This is a really neat trap. This is an antique. It's a kangaroo trap. Probably 80 years old. I got them for next to nothing in a hawk shop. So, okay, the trap is set. Notice the wire on the bottom. Look, how easy it is. Okay, just go around the limb with that wire that was hanging off, and you twist it. But here's the secret. You don't twist it a lot, just once around so it holds it. Now look. That trap is held in place. It's sitting there, and a marten come, step in the trap, okay? He's going to step in the trap, but it's not wired too hard to this limb. The first pull, he's going to disconnect this wire right here because it's not twisting around and around and around, just a half a twist. Okay, I'm just going to anchor this to this limb up above. That'll be plenty good, just like that. Good stout limb, it'll hold. All right, now, just like I told you before, the marten, when they die, they become prey of the animals they used to prey on. So you really want to keep them off the ground. Now see this? The marten comes, smells the bait, comes up this tree, says, hey, where at? I got some bait. Clip, 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 gets caught in the trap, okay? He gets caught in this trap. He says, whoa, I better get out of here. And he frees himself real quick because that's not on tight and falls off and swings like that. It's so cold, the steel on his paw, hypothermia sets in almost immediately, and they're usually dead within 5 minutes. And they're just hanging there frozen stiff as a board. And that's the limb set. It's so simple that unless somebody tells you how to do it, it's really complicated marten trap. And this is all there is to it. Okay, one final little bit of touch we got to put to this is the lure, remember? Put a nice dab on there. There. We can just leave it like that. Boy, that lure really works. Now, one little thing, I'm going to cover the bait a little bit like this. Keep the birds off it. Okay? They don't see it from above. Birds hunt by sight. So the only thing that's going to come in here is a marten now. I got it covered. Now I'm going to go on and make about 12 or 14 more sets. And see if we can't find some marten in them eventually. That's a neat set. Nothing to it. Let's see, I'll go down here. Well, I set up about 15 sets. I only got 2 leg hold, and the rest are all those Convair Ultimate Marten sets. Boy, I'm excited about it, but we got about maybe a half hour before it gets dark, and I got about 3.5, 4 miles to get going. I'll be snowshoeing in the dark, which I like to do anyway. So I'm going to head in, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. We'll start out with the water sets, and we'll move up through the foothills and get up in the high country here and see if any of these sets paid off. It'd be kind of fun. Isn't this neat? Man, I love snowshoeing. Use bear paws, of course. Real good for maneuverability. We got 4.5 feet of snow here now, but they go over it real good. Hey, I gotta get hustling. See you tomorrow morning.
The next morning, Mike approaches a warm water slough to check his low country trap line for mink, muskrat, and beaver.
Little mink set right here. There ain't no trap here. We're at the trap. The wire's the rock out there. This is just a pocket set. We're gonna have to look around and find the trap and see what it is. Might be a mink, muskrat, I don't know what it is. I'm gonna have to go over here and see what we got. It's for an owner. Mink are real inquisitive. You put the bait in there, And you got I scooped out a place here for the trap. I've got some lure in there. It smells like a mink. I placed the trap in there, maybe about a fourth or a half an inch under the water. Now look, that's all done. That's just the way this thing looked when the mink come along. He come along the bank this way or this way. He smells the odor of mink. He says, I better investigate this thing. He gets a little closer. He smells the mink. He says, oh, that's why the mink odor's there. First thing he does, he zips right in there, gets caught in this trap. Okay? I've got the trap wired to a rock out in the middle of the stream, towards the middle. The mink gets trapped. He goes to the water for safety. Swims out there. This is a very heavy trap, 1.5 for a mink. He swims out there, and the current takes him down to that deep hole where I pulled him up, and he's drowned within 3 minutes. Very humane, even though it's a steel leg hole trap. It's a drowning set. This is the number one. If you want to trap mink, this is what you use. It's called a pocket set. You can call it a pole set or whatever you want, but all it is a little pocket scooped out, trap in the water, and you got the bait in there. That's what 95% of the mink are trapped at, a pocket set. We got some more. I got a blind set up here using a conibear. We'll see what we got up there. That's kind of fun to always check them out, try and figure out where the mink are going to be moving. Boy, I hope the day goes as good as it started. Man, first trap I got a mink. There's a good reason why I put that set there. Here's the stream, the main stream's coming down, and look at this warm water feeder stream coming in. The mink is going to travel along the main creek or the feeder stream. What I've done is double my chances, because any mink coming along here or coming down the stream is going to smell my scent. It's just 5 feet up in the bank here. And feeder streams are really important. Every time there's a place there's a feeder stream, I'll have a mink set there. So I got a blind set up here. Let's go up and see what we got up there. Looks like this is paid off. What is this? A fisher? Oh, you can't be a... It's a mink. Black. Look at the size of that thing. This almost looks like a ranch mink to me. Look at that. Look how he's caught. This is called the conibear trap. Killer trap. These traps have revolutionized trapping. Instant death on this. This mink never knew what hit him. Look at that. Isn't he beautiful? That's just about the biggest mink I've ever trapped. Man, I thought he was a female fisher at first because he was so black. Man, he is a dandy mink. See this? This is what you call the blind set. As the mink travel along the creek, what I did is I put some rocks on this side, and the only place he can go is right in through here. And we use this conibear trap, set it up here. See? The only place he can go through is right where I'm putting this conibear. Look at that. See that? Now I'll build that up and have it just like that. The mink comes through, sees rocks, sees the only place he can go through. He says, oh, there's just a couple little twigs in the way. I'll swim right through there. He goes right in through just like that one. Bang, that's the way he gets caught. I'll set up this set and we'll continue on. I got some rat sets and some beaver sets up there too, and a couple crossover sets, and we'll see what happens. But boy, these conibears, you just can't beat them. They just shallow water like this. It's just great. Oh, rats. Well, maybe I'd have something in every trap, but I didn't. This is a conibear, just like where I caught that mink, but it's much, much larger. Look at my hand. This is for beaver. The last time I was through here, I could see where a beaver had been coming up through this channel and chewing on this stuff. This stuff here is alderbrush. They really like to eat it. So in the winter, they come up and chew on it and bring it back and eat it. Well, I put a conibear in here, and beaver just swims up. And they like to stay in the water in the channel, swims in, hits that trigger, and instant death. This is a tremendously powerful trap. You have to be careful with it. You get your hand stuck in there, you're in a whole bunch of trouble. It's an instant killer trap, and I got a couple up there, and we're going to go check on them. Maybe I got luckier than I did on this one, but it'll be a matter of time. He'll be back. Fresh beaver sign. Alder twig, chewed up. Look at this thing. Isn't it beautiful? Entire ecosystem right here that the beavers created. I've got about a dozen of these that I trap. It's 19 degrees out. Just about all the open water is frozen by now. But I've got these warm water sloughs. Warm water bubbles up, typical Montana, you know, the Old Faithful and all that stuff. They got warm water come up, and these very seldom freeze. 19 degrees, and I've got open water for trapping. Because it's open water, there's a lot of wildlife. There's frogs, fish, and small rodents. There's muskrats live in here, and that's why there's mink in here. A lot of mink, because they come and feed on the fish and frogs and the muskrats. And there's a lot of muskrats because there's a lot of mud and grass to eat. And the beaver live in here, and it's a little too cold for coon today. But when we get a little Chinook come in, it gets to be about 30, 35 degrees. The coon will be in here too. Just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place. I just dying to see if I got a beaver up here. I gotta go up and see it. They gotta be in here. That's fresh.
Mike's next set holds a large beaver, killed instantly in a large conibear trap. Mike crosses the beaver pond to his next trap. He finds a huge blanket beaver in this 330 body grip trap. It's obvious he feels pretty good about this catch.
Got a muskrat set here. Looks like I got one. Look at that. Caught the conibear, just dead instantly. A nice medium rat. Now, you might say, well, just why do you have a sitting there, Mike? Muskrats are always preyed upon by everything. Everything wants to eat a muskrat. Mink, owls, coyotes will get them. See, the main muskrat hole is right in here, but they don't like to expose themselves. They like to stay in the cover. And see how this log is here and this smaller log is here? It kind of create something so a bird couldn't swoop down on them. So when they come out, they like to come in through here. And see this stuff here? This is a feed bed. This is roots they've been chewing up and eating on. So I see this, and I can see their hole there, and you can actually see little tracks and drag marks in this mud here. It's only natural. You put the trap in. In the old days, you used to have to use a sure hole steel leg trap, and now we have the conibear. See, I just set it in like this. This is where they're traveling through, and I put a couple sticks in to hold this in place. Any muskrat's going to come kind of swimming in through here, just like this one did. He come in just like this. He says, "Okay, just got to go through there," and he gets caught. You can harvest 30 of these in one trip using these sets. It's a very simple set. I got a bait set up here for muskrats too, just a little bit further. There's no runways around there. It's a rocky area. We'll go up there and look at that. Another muskrat, just like this one. See, I use the steel leg hole trap here because there's no runways for a conibear. See, I use the number 1.5 trap, much bigger than you need for a muskrat, much bigger. I use it for the weight. The water's only about 14 inches deep here. The muskrat swims in, gets caught, swims out. This is like having a 60-pound block around your leg, and it pulls them right down and drowns them instantly. This is just a simple bait set. This is what most of the muskrats are trapped at. I started using apple many years ago, and I think it's a visual attractant for the muskrat. See this? Just a piece of apple, but I also have some muskrat lure in there. Put the trap in here, and it's got about a half-inch of water over it. Muskrat swim along shore trying to find food. Smells that, swims right in like this one. Wow, what's that? Steps in the trap, yikes, swims out into deep water and drowns immediately because the trap's so heavy. It's as simple as that. That's all there is to muskrat trapping, whether you're in a slough, marsh, creek, lake, river, whatever. The blind set with the conibear or the bait set. That's all there is for it. Actually for both mink and muskrat. There's really, don't let people complicate you with this trapping. It's fairly easy. It's mostly understanding the animal. I've got a little crossover set up here where a log spans the marsh. I want to go and check that out. I always like to check crossover sets. You never know what you're going to get in them. I might not have anything. I better get out of here. I got a long ways to go today. Well, I guess this is the day for me, huh? Look at that. Yeah. Looks like it might be a young male to me. Boy, that is a dandy. See, what I got here is what we call a crossover. Animals are no different than people. No matter what side of the stream you're on, you always want to get on the other side. So, you see where this tree fell over from one bank to the other shore, if a critter's on this side, he's just got to go across, see what's on the other side. And if there aren't any in here, I'll go and make them too. I'll actually spread logs across to do that. But everything, coyotes will cross this log, a coon, mink, fox, bobcats. You don't know, I've got a little cubby. This is actually a double set. I've got a little cubby over there too. It's the same log, just a little bit, about 40 feet further down. I got a little cubby here. Anything comes in, it's going to smell it. The trap is gone. You ain't going to believe what's in here. You ain't going to believe this. Lippy LePew, the skunk. Oh. Lippy LePew, the skunk. Hey, now don't get all excited. Skunks, when you catch them in the ground, oh, they stink something terrible. You can't even get close to them. But I really like to catch skunks in these crossovers because they get caught in the trap. The first thing they do is they jump in the water in the heavy trap. Remember the heavy trap? Drowns them immediately. There's very little odor in this skunk. I'm going to skin them out and sell them. I don't throw them away. Even if I catch them on the land, I'll throw them in the water for 3 or 4 days until the odor's gone pretty much. But all I got is there is just a little bit of beaver meat in here. Just a little bit of beaver meat in here. I got a little more. Anything come along, smells it, goes in there, and there's this trap here, and it gets caught. Believe me, this skunk doesn't stink, because if it stunk, I wouldn't have a hold of it like this. But what this is not natural. It's man-made. See, there's branches. Got some little pieces of wood over here and some branches to keep it. And I put the trap right in here. See, it's all out of the weather and everything. And even in sub-zero, it's operable. If a martin or something or a fisher come down to the lower country here and pass through, I trap one. I've done it before. So there's natural cubbies. There's man-made cubbies. I pretty much got my quota in this slough. I think I'm going to pull, other than the muskrat traps, I'm going to pull all my mink sets, and I'm going to pull my beaver sets. I got 2 beaver, I've got 3 mink. I think that's enough for this. I know there's some more mink around, but I don't want to catch them. I want some for next year. I'll take a few more rats out of the rat sets, and then that'll be it. I'll move on to another warm water slough. Now, I'm pretty much done with the water trapping right now, but what I'm going to do, we're going to head up to the foothills, heading up towards the high country. I've got a rancher over about 3 miles away who's been having some trouble with coyotes. They've been after his sheep and the newborn calves, and I've got some snare sets out, and I'm going to see if we got some in there. I hope we do. I need some coyotes, and I hope that I can help him out too, but that's where we're going next. I'm going to real quick skin these beaver, and then I'm going to just stash everything else and pick it up on the way back, but we're going to have to get hustling if we're going to get up to the high country before it gets dark. I got a whole bunch of martin sets to check up there yet too, but let's go. I got some bobcat cubbies and some coyote snares up there. We'll go up there and see what we got. Snare and coyotes is just very intricate. It is the high-tech trapping. You got to know what you're doing with coyotes. So let's go up there and see what's going on.
On his way to the foothills, Mike checks 2 sets in a small slough where many fingerling trout have been trapped behind a beaver dam, attracting otter and raccoons.
Looks like I got a beaver. No, it's not a beaver. It's an otter. All right. This is just a little side stream from where we trapped all the beaver and mink and that slough back up there and heading up towards the high country. But I always trap in here. I usually take an otter out of here. A whole bunch of minnows get caught in this little side stream here. It's kind of like a little stream slough, and the otter come in here. Every year you can see the tracks up and down. They'll just chase those fish all over the place. See, I kind of blocked things off, gave them only one travel route. Boy, look at that. That is a huge, huge otter, even by Montana standards. Boy, gee, look at that bugger. All right. Otter ain't, they're not trap-wise at all. You give them an avenue to go through and they'll go through it. I blocked that side off, and this side's got brush and sticks on both sides of this big conibear killer trap. And as soon as this animal hit it, it was dead. You could see it never even moved, never went in the water, nothing. So I got a couple of coon sets up there. They'll come in here after the minnows too, because the minnows aren't moving too much, and we might get lucky up there too before we head up further up. I'll get this out of the trap and make the set and head on up out of here. Looks like we have a coon that come down here fishing too. All right. It's a little cold for coon right now. Normally they'd be in hibernation, but there are so many minnows. They're all about this long, and they're sluggish. It's so good feeding that they're going to stay in here a little longer. All this said is, as you can see, besides this big boulder in the marshy bank, there's just this little jet of water. And I put some fish oil back in here. Coon walking along either way says, boy, free fish. Comes right into his avenue, and I've got this killer trap, this body grip trap. Boy, he's just a dandy. This is smaller than the one I caught the otter and the beaver in now. It's 8 inches by 8 inches. It's for like fisher and coon, stuff like that. That's a big coon now. You boys down south got bigger coon than this, but like for Montana, where there isn't a great amount of feed, this is really a nice coon. Oh, all right. Look at this. Got him in the first snare in here. See, I've got 6 snares in here, spread around. Now you can see this cable here. You say, well, coyotes are supposed to be smart. They see the steel there and they won't come in. Well, I'll tell you, when you put a snare out there and all this brush, it's not that easy to see. I'll tell you how. Just look to your right a little bit over there, and you'll see. That's what the coyote sees when he comes in. Everything looks fine and dandy. He don't see that little sliver of steel. And he'll walk right through it and never see it. Catch him by the neck and choke him within 3 minutes. Now, first thing they do is they'll go right through the snare and it cinches and it locks. It's got a lock. It won't get loose. And it chokes him down real quick. First thing they do is spin around and around and see how he hung himself up. I'll bet he was dead within 10 minutes. Right around the old neck. See this lock here? You can take it back with your hand by working it real easy. But it's one way. Gets around that coyote and it won't come out. There you go. Let's see what he was. Young male coyote. Maybe even this year's pup. You can't use this snare, of course. We'll put another one in here. Obviously, when the coyote gets done with them, you can't do much with them because they kink them up real bad. There's no way you can make a loop out of this thing right now. You just discard them. Use some of the parts for making your own snares. I'll put another one in here. I'll tell you, fur bearers, there's no fur bearer in North America that you really have to be extra careful with. Wolverine, lynx, bobcat, muskrat, mink, you can use bear trap just like I did, uncovered, and they're not that difficult to trap. You put the trap in the water or trap in the land. I catch bobcats and cubbies to trap totally exposed. They're just not trap-wise. Coyotes, I'll tell you, they're the Albert Einstein of the wildlife community. They are very suspicious. See, what I do is I just take some regular wire. All it is this kind of wire, just 16, 18 gauge wire, whatever you use for tie wire. And I'll get 3 strands of it, lengthwise about 30 feet long, and I'll just start twisting it. Use a drill bit or something, or just use a stick, keep on twisting it like a baton. Pretty soon, it gets twisted just like a cable, okay? Now, I've cut a little piece off here, and it's quite stiff, okay? Now, I'm going to take the length of this, and I'm going to tie it onto this swivel here. Okay, I just put the cable through the swivel there, and I twist it around a couple times, just to tighten it. This is pretty much the anchor wire I call it, though it is a swivel wire. Okay, now see, I've got this snare. I'm going to open it up for a second here so you can see. I've got this snare open. I've got this cable wire on it. But look, it won't hold it up. That's what this little wire is for right here. Now watch this. I take the wire and I hook it like this. I put a little hook in it just like that, okay? I hook it right at the very end of the cable, right at the very end of the snare, just like that, see? And I pinch it on there. I'm going to pinch it on with these pliers, see? Then I'm going to I'm going to snap it closed with these pliers. Right on there. See, now I pinched that wire on there, so it's kind of got that cable pinched down and it's tight. It won't move, okay? I'm going to take that wire through the swivel. A couple times. Okay? Kind of pull the excess out, and then I'm going to wrap it around the cable wire. See this? Now I'm going to show you what that does. That really changes the complexion of this entire snare. Okay? Now when I open the snare up and I hang it out, see how that little anchor wire keeps it in place now? Depending on how much I want to bend it up, it'll go up. It'll go down. Whatever I want to do, sideways. Okay, just connecting this little wire onto the snare, then going through the swivel twice, then wrapping around the anchor wire, makes it stand up by itself. It's a stand-up snare now. Okay, now look, I can bend it up. That wire keeps it up there. I can bend it down, left, right, whatever I want. And that's the secret, really, is using that wire to hold the snare in. Now what I'll do is I'll tie this snare in and show you how you can set it up to stand up by itself without any help from anything else. Okay, now I'll tie it around the tree. That's all it takes. Okay. Now this snare is officially in place. That's all there is to it. The snare is tight to that tree. A wolf couldn't get out of this. Now I'm going to put the snare up. You see the way it's sitting now? Pull this out of here a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to crimp this up a little bit right here to help the snare kind of sit up a little better. Look at that, how that improves it. Move it up a little bit. Just right, I'll get this out of the way. Okay, maybe I'll just kind of put something in here to kind of help it along, guide it in there a little bit. You know, any coyote coming through can be smelling that, wondering what's going on, and it doesn't see any of this. It does not see the snare. And it's about 12 inches from the ground to the bottom of the snare, which is just right for a coyote. See the coyote's legs? Look at that. It's just perfect headshot. He'll come, this is what happened to him last time, come right through and whang, right through there. This is called a stand-up snare. Look how quick and easy that was to make from scratch. Well, I have these all made up ahead of time. I can make a snare set in a couple of minutes. And I've got, like I say, 6 of these around here now. And a coyote will never see this. Now, I want to show you one thing. See this little button? This is a very important thing for me personally. It's called the deer guard button. There's deer in this country. They're always moving around. Now, a deer's head is going to be way up here, and it's going to walk through, and they'll get caught by their legs sometimes, and that's what this deer guard is. Now, watch. If a deer came through this way, put his leg through, okay, here comes the snare. See how it hit this button? It won't close anymore. And the deer's leg comes right out. See how close, small it'll open? Just to there, see? The thing comes closed till it hits that button. And that's big enough for a deer's hook to get out of. It's a very good safety item, and O'Gorman uses this on many of his snares. You can buy them with a deer lock on them, and I always, deer guard, and I always get them that way and cut them down to be made this way. That's a really good feature. And there you go. Look, I'm ready to go. I had a coyote in here. I've got a couple of guide twigs here, kind of a natural passageway. Now, you're going to say to me, why did you set a snare right here? Well, I'm going to show you. Snaring coyotes is a lot different than anything you've ever done. People, when they first start snaring coyotes, they'll put some bait out. And they might have the bait just like, say right there, that's the bait. They'll put a snare there, figuring, okay, if that one's going to get hungry, he's going to come in for this bait and get caught. Well, coyotes don't do that. They can usually get their own food. But they're real suspicious. What they do is they'll circle it. And you'll see coyote tracks circling and circling and circling. When I first started snaring, I'd have like 4 snares within 5 feet of the bait. They'd circle it all around, but they wouldn't come into the bait. Oh, I got 5 or 6 that first year, but not nearly as many as came around. Well, that's what coyotes do. They're real suspicious. They'll look at that bait and say, what's going on there? Let me circle this and what's going on. That's not natural, so they usually won't come in. What you do is, after a while, you see all those coyote tracks out there about 30 feet away from the bait, and you say, if I put some snares out there perpendicular to the bait where they kind of circle, I bet I catch some. And that's what these are. I got one there, one here. On the uphill side, coyotes like to stay kind of up above things so they can look down. Now I'm going to walk away from this snare where I caught this coyote, okay? I'm going to show you a relationship of where this snare is set up to where my bait is. Now, I'll be right back, but I just want to show you how far away my bait is. See this? This is my bait way down here. It's a good 35 feet away from that snare right there. What they're doing is I'm counting on them circling. They'll circle it 20 times. It'll look like 1,000 coyotes was in here. So you don't try and fill every hole with a snare. 4 or 5, 6 snares, circling around, circling around. That's all it takes. This set's ready to go. It's going to probably snow tonight and cover our tracks, and it's going to look very natural. Coyotes are just amazing animals. They're so suspicious in some ways, but then in other ways they're just so dumb. Now you set a steel trap and cover with dirt, say in the fall, make a dirt hole set. Coyote will come up there and look and say, boy, that doesn't look natural, and start sniffing and smell some steel. And he'll start scratching. Pretty soon there's his corner of the jaw of a trap. Boy, let's get out of here. Away he goes. You'll see the scratching where he's done that on a dirt hole set a lot. You take that same coyote, will walk away from that dirt hole set, all proud of himself that he was so suspicious, and never even see this thing. This is steel also. You can't make the smell of steel go away. He'll walk right through this and never see it. Coyotes are fringe animals. They live on the fringe of civilization. Well, you can hear a highway about 2 miles down below us here. You can hear some trucks going by. They're a foothills animal. They're used to barbed wire, old cars, garbage. They look for food in such places. This is just another piece of barbed wire for them. And they go right through it. And it's just shows you how cunning animals can be, but yet they're limited to their animal intellect. Well, I got this all set up. I'm sure you can know all you got to know about snaring coyotes now. But I got another snare set up the hill about another half mile or so. I got high hopes for it too. There have been coyotes around that last time they circled us in and I didn't get them. But I put a couple more snares out there this time where they circle. Maybe if they come back to the same spot, I'll get them. I'm going to have to get hustling there. We got a long ways to go. This has been fun though, huh? Those snares, I'll tell you, you can't beat them.
Mike's next snare set also has paid off. An extra large male coyote awaits him. A snare usually kills a coyote quickly, but this coyote's thick neck fur became entangled in the snare's lock before it could close.
There. I just dispatched this coyote, and now I got some bobcat cubbies up here on the way to high country. One in particular is up here. Big old bobcat's been circling it. He won't go into it. He comes by about every 6-8 days, and it's been 8 days since he's been by. So it could be this time. It's been 2 days since I've been there. I got some snares out. I might catch him, man. I'm really excited about getting up there and Check it out. I'm going to stash this old boy along the line up here and pick everything up on the way back. Go up here to these cubbies and see what's going on. Oh, all right, look at this. Oh, boy. Big old bobcat. Caught in the snare. Listen. Froze hard as a rock. See, this is what I was telling you about. See this cubby over here? This is a bobcat cubby. This bobcat's been coming around about every 6 to 8 days, but he won't go into this cubby. He just circles it a couple times, and then he goes right back where he come from in the brush. A lot of times, coyotes and bobcats will circle a cubby, and I always put a couple of snares in likely places. Now, last time he was through here, he came right underneath this cedar tree and went right back there, so I put a snare right in here. And I figured the next time through, if everything worked out right, I should have him. Boy, he is a dandy. He's a big old male.
Mike stashes the bobcat to be picked up later and heads for the high country. His first stop is along a stream where he has a series of sets made for Fisher and Wolverine.
What the heck have I got in there? Wolverine? Holy cow! Big old male Fisher. Oh boy. Look at that. The Wolverine, the lynx, and the Fisher are true representatives of the wilderness animals, the wilderness experience. This is a big old male Fisher. Now here in my section of Montana, you can only take one Fisher. So all those other cubbies up ahead here now, I'm going to have to pull them. I don't want to catch another Fisher. I call this Fisher Creek because the Fisher move up and down it so much. Now I trapped this big old male just in a very simple bush cubby. Just some cedar and red fir boughs piled up so when it snows, everything won't get covered. I just got some beaver meat in there for bait. I used that LDC, that long distance cow lure I was talking about in there, and it'll bring them from a long ways. Beaver meat has got that natural castor odor. It's the absolute best bait you could have. And the Fisher is just moving up and down here looking for squirrels, and it smells that LDC. He says, man, I don't know what's going on. I got to check it out. Gets maybe 40, 50 feet away and smells the beaver. Came right in here and hit this 8x8 body grip killer trap, and you can see where it caught it, right by the neck. Look at that. Perfect kill on it. You can see there's no struggling running around. He hit it and bang, down it went.
Mike has stopped to pick up his snowshoes, which he keeps stashed in a tree.
Ah, darn, nothing. Darn. This is a cubby for lynx or Wolverine or bobcat or Fisher. Got a big trap in it. This is a number 3. I usually go up to even a number 4 for the big-footed animals like Wolverine and lynx. Lynx, they got a huge paw. Almost as big around as that trap, John, to tell you the truth. They're not real fighters. You don't need a big, strong trap, but you need something with big jaws. Now, Wolverine, they have got to be the toughest animal in the world. I'll tell you, a number 4 has all it can hold when it grabs a hold of a Wolverine. I don't know how they could even get along together long enough to mate, I'll tell you, and they don't. They fight all the time. What this is a mountain saddle. That's why I have this cubby here. There's a steep hillside coming down, hits the saddle, goes back up again, it creates a notch. All the animals move in through here. Now last year, the good news is I trapped a nice big male Fisher in this cubby last December. That's great. The bad news was that Wolverine came by about 2 hours later and said, oh, there's supper. See, now this, a man-made cubby, I came up in the summer and I made this so that I'd have a place no matter what the weather did. My trap is in a nice little hut here. I've got a lot of meat in here, probably about 10 pounds of beaver meat, plus some real powerful lure. You need a lot of meat in the winter for these big animals. And the trap is in there, and it's on some boughs that are nice and dry and green, and it'll go off no matter what the weather is. And this here, this is a little stepping stick. You put it right in front of the jaws of the trap, and the animal doesn't want to step on a stick. Just like us, we step over logs. They'll step over the stick and into the jaws of the trap. So I always put it right in front of the jaws of the trap. Put everything back here. Maybe next time a wolverine will come around. They have a tremendous range, like 300 square miles. Think about it, that's almost 18 by 18 miles. I mean, that's a lot. They need a lot. They're scavengers, but they are killers. If they ever get a hold of something, whether it's deer or elk, they'll kill it if they can. I love them. I've always been after them. Well, I gotta get out and check on some more of these marten sets. I better be getting out of here. Oh, look at this. An ermine. It was made for a marten, but ermine, they travel the same territory as marten do. This is just all it is a white weasel. It's a brown long-tailed weasel in the summer and turns white. No wonder they're such vicious killers. Look at that color. These things are vicious. They look beautiful, but look at the teeth on there. Just like needles. I'll tell you, it'll go right through your finger. They kill so much game. They're just a predator, just a pure weasel. That's really neat. Take him out of this trap, and oh, he's kind of stiff, kind of frozen. Take him out of the trap, and we'll head on to another marten set. Boy, that's a beautiful animal, isn't it? This is an extra large weasel, by the way. They usually don't get that big. I'll reset this trap, and then we'll head on over to the next marten set. All right, first marten. Hey, remember? This is the set that we all made together yesterday. Frost on his fur. Isn't he beautiful? Look at the difference. This is an extra large ermine compared to just a typical large marten. Look at that. Hard as a rock. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, I'm gonna take him out of this conibear and reset it. Head on up to some other sets here, put it in my pack. I had about 14, 15 sets down there, and I got one ermine, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 marten. That's actually a real good catch out of 15 traps, but this is a virgin territory here. This is a female on the left and a male on the right. You can see quite a bit of difference in the size of them here. This is a real good catch. This is a real good catch. It's been really enjoyable having you with me. It's really fun to have somebody along my trap line to appreciate trapping with me. I got a big old sack out there. I'm going to put these in. It's getting dark. The day's just about done. I'm going to have to do the old trick of snowshoeing in the dark if I got to get back. Time for supper. Hey, I really appreciate it. Good trapping. Been really nice getting together with you. Hope to see you again next year. See ya. This is about half-season catch for me, 40 marten. About midway through the season, I'll send my first shipment in. Beautiful animals, just beautiful pelts. You know, trapping's really been taking a beating lately. The animal rights people are really making an issue of it. Really down on the steel leg hole trap. Well, you know, years ago, they were down on the steel leg hole trap, and we made inventions. I showed you, especially the body grip traps. Literally 80% of the animals trapped nowadays are killed instantly in those killer traps. But that's not enough for the animal rights people. Virtually what it's come out to is that they don't care what method is used. They're against furs. They're against fur farming. Let's do away with that notion that trapping the fur industry is inhumane. I'll tell you what's inhumane. I spent some time in Yellowstone Park this spring watching the elk in the spring. They were dying off. There's no hunting allowed in Yellowstone Park. And it was just a horrifying thing to watch. Listen, if we don't harvest animals through hunting or trapping, nature will harvest them. But nature's way is just a torture. They die a very slow, starving death. It's a horrible thing to see. And it makes our methods with the gun, with the trap, look very humane by comparison. I think you fishermen, you hunters, they're sitting kind of back right now saying, well, this is between the trappers and the animal rights people. Don't you think that? Because they've already said, we do away with trapping. Bow hunters are next, rifle hunters are next, and even fishermen. You know, the sharp hooks in the fish's mouth, they're against that too. So listen, don't you just sit back. Because unless we all get together and fight these extremists, you're going to be next. Bow hunters will be next. Trapping is a humane profession. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't.
Some folks say that the Rocky Mountains and river are a lifeless, frozen wasteland. But to the wilderness trapper, they are full of life and a welcome respite from the hectic pace of the modern world.